So what does it mean to show him respect? A few very specific points. Number one, respect his knowledge and his judgment. Wives, respect your husband's knowledge and judgment. When your husband makes a decision, don't double guess him. Don't doubt him. Don't try to make him feel he's not intelligent, he's not qualified to do what he's doing. In other words, don't treat him like a child. Classic example. Classic example, happens all the time. Husband is driving and the wife thinks that this is the wrong way. The wife says, no, you should exit here. You just missed the highway exit. This is where you're supposed to exit from, right? What has just happened here? The husband becomes irritated. I know where I'm going, don't worry. I know it's right ahead, right? What's happened here? Well, the wife has doubted her husband's sense of power, sense of being in charge, sense of responsibility. And what happens here when a husband is challenged, he becomes, what's he going to become when he's challenged? Argumentative. He becomes, immediately he'll retort back, what do you know? You did this, you did that. Now, if he turns out to be wrong and you were right, this leads me to point two. Suppose you were right, that was the exit. Well then, this leads me to point two. Let the husband make his mistakes and learn from his own mistakes. Because when he makes a mistake, he won't be able to get angry at anybody else. But when you make a mistake and you tell your husband to make that mistake, you're never going to hear the end of it, and you all know what I'm talking about. Let the husband make his mistake and let him learn from his mistake. And don't become his mother. Believe me, no man wants to marry a motherly figure. He has his mother, alhamdulillah, for that. He doesn't want his wife to start lecturing him, to start daunting him, like only his mother is allowed to daunt him. Right? Mothers have privileges, they don't extend to their daughter-in-laws. So, suppose he did take that wrong turn. Suppose he missed the exit. Guess what? He's never going to miss that exit ever again. He's learned from his mistake. And the fact that you didn't put it in his mind, you were just quiet, you let him do his decision, khalas, no big deal. Next time it's not going to happen. So what if you arrive at the party 5 minutes late? I mean, we all arrive 20, 30 minutes late. It's part of being Desi and Muslim. What's the big deal? That's not going to be the end of the world. The third point here. The third point about showing respect. Trust his capability in taking on the projects that he wants to take on. Don't be sarcastic or diminishing of any project he feels that he wants to do. So for example, there's a leaky faucet and your husband comes in with the toolbars, the plumbing, the wrench and everything, and you're like, you're gonna fix the leaky faucet? What have you just done? You've taken his ego and you didn't just take a pin and you took a knife and you thrust it in his heart. Like literally the husband will say, if I can't even take care of a leaky faucet, you don't think I'm capable of this, what do you think I'm capable of? What you've done is, and I'm going to be very frank here, and I speak as a man. Men, I'm sorry and I apologize for giving the secret away, but I have to for our own marriages. Men, I know this is going to come as a shock to you sisters. Men have big egos. I know it's going to come as a shock to you. Their egos, mashallah, tabarakallah. So, if you do anything to diminish that ego, you have hurt male pride. You have hurt male pride. So, you let the man foster his ego. Let him. If you think he's self-deluded, let him be self-deluded. He'll love you back in return. And in the end of the day, that's what you want, doesn't it? Right? You want to be loved and cherished and admired. Let him make a mistake. And I will tell you another thing, sisters. Frankly, if your husband does take on a challenge, you will be surprised when 9 times out of 10 he'll actually finish it in a decent manner. This is the fact of the matter. When men make mistakes, they'll go back and do it again, and do it again, and do it again, until they get it right. Allah created us that way. Allah created us that way. For you to hover over him and always pinpoint him or find a fault or diminish his ego, honestly, this is very problematic. And frankly, it's humiliating and painful for the delicate male ego. The man feels he's the protector. If you will challenge him and say, how can you protect me from a leaky faucet? Then you have basically said, I don't trust your judgment. You have basically said, I don't feel you're qualified to take on protecting me and taking care of the household. The bottom line, let him take on his challenges. Suppose he wants to write a book. Suppose he wants to do a project. Let him do it. Let him find out his own way. Maybe he's not the best plumber. Fine. But when you diminish his ego, this will cause problems in his heart for you. He's not going to love you the way you want him to love you. You need to allow him the impression of being the nourisher, the provider, the qawwam. He's the one who will protect you. So you take refuge in him, you seek shelter in him. Yes, honey, you will fix the leaky faucet. And guess what? Inshallah, he will actually end up fixing the leaky faucet.